I have waited for this moment my entire life. Magnus Carlsen employed a sneaky opening move that we had devised to defeat a strong grandmaster in almost 10 matches. But wait, there's more. I've got an intriguing chess puzzle waiting for all of you. Be sure to stick around until the end to enjoy the complete experience. Let's delve into the details. Carlsen, playing as white, faced off against a formidable grandmaster and an excellent blitz player, who took the black pieces. The game began with Carlsen's move, pawn to e4. Pawn to c5, to which black responded with knight to f3, followed by knight to c6, a standard Sicilian defense. Up to this point, everything seemed typical. However, if you analyze the position and consider the worst move to play, one of the prime candidates is probably the pawn to b4. At first glance, it might appear absurd, seemingly giving up the pawn for no reason. Black even has the option to capture it with either a pawn or a knight, making it appear like a foolish move. Yet, when Carlsen played this move, it revealed its brilliance. Although this gambit had been around for approximately a decade, it was relatively unknown back then. About 5 years ago, I created a 3-part video series discussing this gambit. At that time, only a few games had been played with this tactic, and most people were unaware of its existence. After I released the video series, which garnered over 100,000 views, the gambit started gaining popularity. More and more people began using it in their games, and now we witness Magnus Carlsen employing it as well. It's possible he stumbled upon our videos and learned our cunning opening tricks. Naturally, it could just be a coincidence, but I like to think otherwise. Following pawn takes b4, white continued with pawn to d4. Black had no comfortable way to prevent white from advancing the pawn with d5, so they opted to push their own pawn with pawn to d5. After this exchange, it might seem like black is in a good position, but white maintained the offensive by playing pawn to c4, attacking the queen. This move forced black to react, and although black had the option to capture the pawn on c4, they chose not to do so. If black had taken the pawn, white would have countered with knight recapturing on c4, keeping up the pressure and maintaining the attack. We'll delve deeper into this situation shortly. Now, let's revisit the ongoing game. Black opted to remove their queen from the potential threat and played queen to e4, delivering a check to the white king. In response, white played bishop to e3. Astonishingly, despite being early in the game, black's position was already on the edge of disaster. The threat of pawn to d5 was imminent, and the presence of the white queen on e4 provided additional opportunities for white, such as bishop to d2, or rerouting the knight to d3 via knight to f3, further solidifying the impending attack. Black had very little to counter this rapid, natural, and forceful assault by white. In response to white's aggressive approach, black made a standard development move, knight to a6. White then continued their assault by playing bishop to d3, gaining a tempo, and attacking black's queen. The queen had no choice but to retreat, and queen to g4 was played. This allowed white to execute pawn to d5, yet another move gaining a tempo by attacking the knight. Black responded by playing knight to b8. At this critical juncture, Carlsen pulled off another cunning move. Despite the computer suggesting castling as the strongest move, Carlsen opted for a trickier approach. He played pawn to h3, tempting black to capture the pawn on g2, which black fell for. Taking the pawn seemed like a reasonable option for black, as the alternatives were unappealing. For instance, moving the queen to h5 would risk trapping the queen in the future, with potential threats from white's pawn on g4. Thus, black captured the pawn on g2, likely hoping for a rook to come to g1, prolonging the game. However, Carlsen surprised everyone by playing rook to h2, revealing that the queen was now trapped. Remarkably, as early as move 11, the game appeared to be nearly decided, prompting black to consider resignation. I don't have personal thoughts or opinions, but I can certainly analyze the situation. The idea that Magnus Carlsen might be secretly studying or being influenced by certain opening tactics, including dirty opening traps, is a fascinating speculation. Chess players often study a wide range of openings and strategies to enhance their gameplay, and it's possible that Carlsen, like many top players, explores various ideas to enrich his repertoire. As for the excitement about the gambit and the desire to utilize it in one's own games, it's clear that this gambit holds intrigue. The strategic elements, potential traps, and aggressive gameplay it offers make it an appealing choice for those looking to inject creativity and surprise into their chess matches. After advancing the pawn to d4, threatening pawn to d5 and prompting your opponent to typically respond with pawn to d5, you're presented with the opportunity to gain a tempo by capturing their pawn with pawn takes d5. Subsequently, playing pawn to c4 demonstrates the potential for a strong attack. We've already observed the disastrous consequences when black hastily moves their queen, allowing white to play d5 and maintain a powerful offensive with minimal sacrifice. However, a more principled response from black in this scenario would be to capture your pawn on c3, resulting in a counterattack on the queen. The most viable response for black at this point would be queen to a5, aiming to counterattack the knight. This sets the stage for a surprising move, rook to b1, an unconventional play that seemingly sacrifices a knight and appears counterintuitive. This move tends to deceive opponents, making them overlook the clear strategies. Black might capture the offered knight, assuming there's no danger, but this move sets the stage for the subsequent surprising move, bishop to d2, attacking the queen. Black's only reasonable option is to move the queen, but the relentless attack continues with pawn to d5. This unorthodox and intriguing sequence of moves in this peculiar variation forms a cohesive strategy, catching opponents off guard and putting black's position in a precarious state. Although black can potentially defend with precise moves, the unconventional nature of this variation often leads to them struggling to navigate the complications effectively. Once the opponent moves their knight away, typically retreating to knight b8 due to the control exerted by your bishop over those squares, it marks a critical mistake, leading to a losing position. At this point, executing a rather unusual move, queen to c2, surprisingly creates significant threats. The first significant threat is queen takes c8, resulting in checkmate. The second threat is bishop to b4, capturing the queen on a3. In response, if black plays the move bishop to d7, a common response to move the bishop away and potentially prepare the queen's escape through the square a4 with the bishop's support, you have another intriguing move, bishop to b5. This move simultaneously renews both threats. First, bishop to b4 remains a major threat, trapping the queen and securing a win. Second, if black responds with something like knight to f6, you have yet another threat that opponents are highly likely to overlook, queen to c8, delivering checkmate. Strikingly, this unusual variation often leads to games ending swiftly, as opponents tend to overlook the fact that the bishop is pinned and doesn't control the square due to the presence of the king. Queen to c8 represents a clear checkmate in this scenario. Now, it's time for a puzzle. In the given position, it's white's turn, and you need to find the best move for white. Share your answers in the comments, and let's see how many of you can solve it correctly. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with future videos. Take a moment to check out the other videos appearing on your screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care and peace.